There's something profound that happens when we try to forget painful experiences. We might think we've successfully buried them deep in our minds, convinced ourselves we've moved on, but our bodies tell a different story. The phrase, "the body keeps score," captures a fundamental truth about human experience that Gabor Maté has spent decades exploring through his groundbreaking work with trauma, addiction, and psychosomatic illness. When we attempt to forget, to push away what hurts us, we're engaging in a very human survival mechanism, but one that often backfires in ways we never anticipated. Think about the last time you felt genuinely stressed or anxious. Maybe your shoulders tensed up, your stomach felt tight, or your breathing became shallow. Your body was responding to something your mind was processing, creating a physical manifestation of an emotional state. This isn't coincidence or weakness, it's actually how we're designed to function. Our bodies and minds are so intricately connected that attempting to separate them is like trying to separate the ocean from its waves. They're part of the same system, and when we ignore this connection, we often find ourselves struggling with symptoms that seem to have no clear origin. The work of Gabor Maté reveals that many of our physical ailments, from chronic pain to autoimmune diseases, often have roots in unprocessed emotional experiences. When we try to forget traumatic events, disappointing relationships, or painful childhood experiences, we're essentially asking our conscious mind to do something it's not equipped to handle alone. The unconscious mind and the body continue to hold these experiences, creating a split between what we think we've resolved and what we're actually carrying. Consider how a small child responds to overwhelming emotions. They don't have the cognitive capacity to analyze or rationalize their feelings, so their entire being responds. They might cry, shake, or even throw themselves on the floor. As adults, we've learned to suppress these natural responses, to appear composed and in control. But that energy, that emotional charge, doesn't simply disappear because we've decided to be mature about it. It gets stored somewhere, and that somewhere is often our physical body. This storage system isn't random or chaotic. There's actually a remarkable intelligence to how our bodies hold on to unprocessed experiences. Areas of chronic tension often correspond to specific types of emotional holding patterns. The shoulders might carry the weight of responsibility we feel we can't set down. The lower back might hold feelings of being unsupported or overwhelmed. The throat might constrict when we have things we need to say but feel we cannot express them safely.
What makes this even more fascinating is how our bodies develop these patterns as protective mechanisms. If expressing anger wasn't safe in your childhood home, your body might have learned to literally swallow that anger, creating tension in your throat or digestive issues. If being vulnerable led to rejection or punishment, your chest might have learned to armor itself, creating a protective barrier that also blocks the flow of love and connection. These adaptations made perfect sense when they were formed, but they often outlive their usefulness. The attempt to forget becomes problematic because it requires us to use enormous amounts of energy to keep certain experiences out of our conscious awareness. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It takes constant effort, and the ball is always pushing back up toward the surface. This ongoing internal struggle depletes our resources and often manifests as fatigue, anxiety, or a general sense of feeling overwhelmed by life. Maté's insights reveal that many people who struggle with addiction are actually attempting to manage this internal pressure. The substance or behavior temporarily relieves the strain of keeping difficult experiences buried. It's not really about the drug or the activity itself. It's about finding relief from the exhausting work of forgetting. This perspective shifts our understanding from seeing addiction as a moral failing to recognizing it as an understandable, though ultimately unsuccessful, attempt at self-medication. The body's memory system is incredibly sophisticated. It can remember the exact feeling of being 5 years old and afraid, even when our conscious mind has no clear recollection of specific events. This bodily memory often emerges in seemingly unrelated situations that triggered the same physiological response patterns. You might find yourself feeling inexplicably anxious in certain social situations, or notice that your body tenses up around specific types of people without any logical explanation for these reactions. Understanding this connection between body and memory opens up new possibilities for healing. Instead of trying harder to forget, we can learn to listen to what our bodies are trying to tell us. That chronic headache might be related to holding on to anger you've never fully processed. Those digestive issues might be connected to anxiety you've been carrying for years. This isn't about blame or self-judgment. It's about recognizing the incredible intelligence of your system and learning to work with it rather than against it.
The process of healing often involves developing a different relationship with our bodies and our memories. Rather than seeing difficult experiences as something to overcome or forget, we can begin to see them as part of our story that deserves acknowledgement and care. This doesn't mean dwelling on the past or becoming defined by trauma, but rather allowing ourselves to feel and process experiences that have been held in isolation for too long. When we stop trying so hard to forget, something remarkable often happens. The experiences that we've been pushing away lose some of their power over us. It's like the difference between trying to ignore a crying child and actually picking them up and offering comfort. The crying doesn't last forever when it's met with compassion, but it can continue indefinitely when it's ignored or suppressed. Have you ever noticed how certain physical sensations seem to carry emotional information? How a particular kind of tiredness feels different from regular fatigue? Or how some types of pain seem to have an emotional quality to them? Have you experienced moments where addressing an emotional issue led to the resolution of a physical symptom that had been bothering you for months or years? And what would it mean for your daily life if you started to see your body not as something that betrays you with mysterious symptoms, but as a wise messenger trying to help you understand your own needs and experiences? I want to take a moment to thank you for clicking on this video and for being here with me today. You're watching the Not What It Seems channel, where we explore these deeper aspects of human experience every single day. Your willingness to engage with these topics, to look beyond surface explanations, and consider the profound connections between mind and body is exactly what this community is about. If today's topic resonates with you and you feel called to add to our conversation, I'd love for you to share your experiences in the comments below if you feel comfortable doing so. I genuinely look forward to reading your thoughts and insights.
Now, back to these important questions about the body's memory and/or attempts to forget. The answer lies in understanding that our bodies are not separate from our consciousness. They're part of an integrated system that's always working toward healing and wholeness. When we acknowledge this partnership, we can begin to work with our symptoms rather than against them, seeing them as communication from a wise inner system that has our best interests at heart. This shift in perspective can be profoundly liberating. Instead of feeling betrayed by a body that develops mysterious ailments, we can begin to feel curious about what these symptoms might be trying to tell us. Instead of feeling ashamed of our emotional responses, we can recognize them as natural reactions to real experiences that deserve acknowledgement and care. The intelligence of this body-mind system is remarkable. It can help us identify patterns we weren't consciously aware of, guide us toward the relationships and environments that truly nourish us, and even help us recognize when we're trying to force ourselves into situations or roles that don't align with our authentic nature. But this intelligence can only serve us when we're willing to listen to it. Many people discover that as they develop this more collaborative relationship with their bodies, they begin to make different choices in their lives. They might find themselves naturally drawn away from relationships or situations that consistently trigger stress responses. Or they might discover new ways of moving through the world that feel more aligned and sustainable. The process isn't always comfortable, and it's not about achieving some perfect state of health or emotional balance. It's about developing a more honest and compassionate relationship with the totality of your experience. Sometimes this means acknowledging grief you've been carrying, or allowing yourself to feel anger that's been stored in your muscles for years. Sometimes it means recognizing that what you thought was strength was actually a protective numbness that no longer serves you.
What's beautiful about this approach is that it honors the wisdom of your survival strategies while also creating space for growth and change. The patterns that helped you navigate difficult periods of your life don't have to be permanent fixtures. They can be acknowledged, appreciated for their service, and gently updated as your circumstances and needs evolve. This understanding can also transform how we relate to others who are struggling with chronic illness, addiction, or persistent emotional difficulties. Instead of seeing these challenges as personal failures or character flaws, we can recognize them as signs of an intelligent system doing its best to manage difficult circumstances. This perspective naturally leads to more compassion, both for ourselves and others. The body's scorekeeping isn't punitive, it's protective. Every symptom, every pattern, every protective mechanism developed for good reasons, even if those reasons are no longer relevant to your current situation. Recognizing this can help us approach our own healing with curiosity and kindness rather than judgment and frustration. As we learn to listen to our body's wisdom, we often discover that healing isn't a linear process. There might be days when old patterns resurface, when symptoms flare up, or when emotions we thought we'd processed return with surprising intensity. This isn't failure or regression. It's the natural rhythm of deep healing, which tends to happen in spirals rather than straight lines. The key is developing trust in the process and in your own inner wisdom. Your body has been keeping score not to punish you, but to help you. Every signal, every symptom, every emotional response contains information that can guide you toward greater wholeness and authentic living. The question isn't how to make these signals go away, but how to understand what they're trying to tell you.
This approach to healing requires patience and self-compassion. It asks us to slow down in a world that prizes speed, to feel deeply in a culture that often encourages numbness, and to trust our inner experience in a society that frequently dismisses or pathologizes emotional and physical symptoms that don't have obvious external causes. But the rewards of this deeper listening are profound. People who learn to work with their body's wisdom often report not just relief from chronic symptoms, but a sense of coming home to themselves. They describe feeling more authentic, more connected to their own needs and desires, and more capable of creating lives that truly nourish them. The body keeps score, yes, but it's keeping score like a wise friend who remembers everything you've been through and wants to help you learn from those experiences. It's not holding grudges, it's holding wisdom. It's not trying to keep you stuck in the past. It's trying to help you navigate the present with the full benefit of all you've learned and experienced. As we come to the end of our time together today, I hope you're leaving with a new appreciation for the incredible intelligence of your own mind-body system. Remember that every experience you've had, every challenge you faced, has contributed to the unique wisdom you carry within you. Your body's memory isn't a burden to overcome, it's a resource to treasure and learn from. If this perspective has resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to share your own experiences with the mind-body connection, or simply let me know what stood out to you from today's discussion. And if you found value in this content, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the Not What It Seems channel for daily insights into the deeper aspects of human experience. Your engagement helps ensure that these important conversations can reach others who might benefit from them. Thank you for being part of this community of seekers and for your commitment to understanding the profound connections that make us human.